Today, I'm very honored to introduce Coach Lyndsey Byrne out of the UK. Lindsey is a functional medicine certified health coach and ReCODE 2.0 certified health coach trained in the Bredesen Protocol for reversing cognitive decline. And she helps her clients improve their brain health and memory, prevent dementia, and even improve symptoms in those with a mild cognitive impairment diagnosis. After a few years of watching her own mother's memory decline, and then meeting someone who had almost totally reversed their own severe early cognitive decline. She set on a path of 3,000 hours of research and study and helped her mom implement the Bredesen Protocol. She herself is on the prevention protocol and has been a great role model to me, my dad, and my family. I'm very grateful for her to be with us here today. And Lindsey, I really appreciate you coming on for our listeners.
Oh,
Thank you.
thank you.
How are
Thank you
you?
for having me. And thank you for those kind words.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. No, it's great to have you. I'll jump right in and ask here, can you please tell us a little bit about your coaching practice and how you support Dr. Dale Bredesen?
Yeah, so I started training back in 2021, qualified in 2022. So I've been helping people for just over 3 years. Um, so that's really good. I'm still going 3 years on. Um, and I help Apollo clients to implement the protocol. It's it's not the easiest thing to implement. It's not just go and get a pill from the doctor. So there can be quite a lot of lifestyle change.
Yeah,
And that's what people sometimes find a little bit tricky. But to help them navigate that and to just make the changes one tiny step at a time.
yeah,
And unless there's anything really pressing that the practitioner says that they really want me to focus on, then I'll tend to let the client prioritize for themselves so that they can choose what they want to work on so that they're comfortable at the pace we're going,
yeah.
but they might choose something they think is going to have a big impact, for example, diet. Or sometimes, if they're a little bit overwhelmed, they might choose some easy, quick wins first just to get the ball rolling and to feel like they are achieving some things. And that gives them a bit more energy and motivation to keep going onto the bigger stuff.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. Yeah, it's a lot of moving parts in the protocol, and once you get the hang of
Yeah.
it all starts to fit together. But you're right, it takes a great coach to be able to help you implement just one step at a time, just one little chunk at a time. That's great. How did you get into health coaching?
So it was entirely because my mum had Alzheimer's, and it was I mean, I already knew that her memory was declining. And in the pandemic, my business fell apart. I had been doing executive coaching, leadership development, team coaching, things like that. That just fell apart in the pandemic.
Mm.
So I had nothing to do. So that was fortuitous. It gave me lots of time to train. And that's when I met the guy you mentioned in my intro who had turned around his symptoms. And I hadn't heard of the protocol before that.
Yeah,
And as soon as I did, as soon as he mentioned it, I was really excited. And that kicked off all these hours of research, me just reading clinical trials and research papers and watching videos, watching interviews with Dr. Bredesen and others, and then getting on the training programs.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's fantastic that you dove in and it really came out of a place of helping your mother and yeah, I remember I remember reading about it at first, and there's the first kind of knee-jerk skepticism, but then you read more, and you're like, oh, whoa. And reading that first paper, that 2014 paper,
Mm.
it was like a breath of fresh air because you get through it, and you're like, wow, this makes complete sense.
Yeah, yeah.
Pretty intuitive. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah,
Normally I'm more skeptical, but I just went into this. I think I was just so hopeful.
yes,
And I think that's what's really important. What I notice when I meet new potential clients, just that they now have some hope. I mean, it's just such a lovely meeting to have and really a rewarding career helping people. But yeah, just that spark of hope. I went into it open-minded, open-eyed, right, okay. Because genuinely, I felt like there is nothing that can go wrong here. There are no side effects. None of this is drugs.
Yes.
Um, why would you not just give it a go? Why would you not throw yourself into it and have a go?
That's right. That's right. It's only really upside because,
Mm,
and that's kind of the way our family looked at it too. It's like we don't have total certainty, but what is the alternative? The alternative is, what they call diagnose and adios. It's just pack it in and just wait. And we might as well be doing something that, what I love about the protocol more than anything is that it gave us something that was within our control and our influence to work on. And even if
yeah.
you don't have the total certainty of it getting you to the outcome that you desire, I could tell you it's a whole lot better than just waiting. So,
Yeah, just
and
having something to focus your attention on and to work on.
yes,
Um, and that's got to be part of it, really, because if you've given up, you will decline faster, won't you? Whereas if you feel like you've got something to work on,
yes.
and there's so much to learn on the protocol, I mean, that's just good brain stimulation in itself.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. That's right. And it doesn't hurt that it's so much great evidence. So many people helped, hundreds of reversals. It's my helped my dad tremendously. And your mom, tell us a little bit about your mom, and a little bit about her decline, and you jumping in with everything that you learned with the protocol.
Yeah. So I started to notice her memory wasn't so great, probably about 8 years ago. And I Googled it, and when you first Google it, the first three or four hits are the NHS, the Alzheimer's Society, Alzheimer's Research, and they all say there's no cure. So you kind of give up because they're the experts, right? So I gave up for a couple of years, and we didn't notice a lot of decline in that time, but I never knew whether she was just really good at hiding it.
Yeah.
I had to get a bit clever with questions. You couldn't just ask yes, no questions. You had to delve a bit to try and occasionally you'd catch her out. She was clearly guessing at an answer. So it was really hard. Um, our family, we don't talk about the important stuff. We don't talk about emotional stuff. We don't talk about our health. So it was really difficult. Um, but it was in just before the pandemic, I was moving mum and dad into a retirement village.
Yeah.
And with the move and people coming around to view the house, it became much harder for her to hide it. At least it could be that. I mean, it could be the stress of the move. Who knows? Could be two things, but it really seemed to get worse, or it was more obvious. Um, by the time I'd found the protocol and got her on the protocol, she still understood what was going on. She could hold a conversation and she would totally understand whatever you were saying. But she couldn't remember anything from about 15 minutes before.
Yeah.
Um, and to be honest, she stopped engaging in conversations. I think that was another self-defense mechanism. I think she was hiding that she wouldn't be able to cope. So
Yeah.
she kind of started to withdraw.
Yeah.
And then within a few months of being on the protocol,
Yeah.
she started to get better. I noticed first,
Yeah.
but I thought it might be wishful thinking. And then other people started to notice and other people started to mention it. So at her peak, at her best,
Yeah.
she was engaged. I mean, she's still engaged now. She'll hold conversations now. She can remember things from days ago, sometimes weeks ago.
Yeah.
She still forgets things,
Yeah.
and she doesn't actually do the whole protocol.
Yeah.
And it's such a source of annoyance to me. I'm a health coach, but you can't health coach your family. You
It's
can't.
hard. Yeah.
So we're doing as much of it as we can, but we're not doing all of it.
Yeah.
But to be fair, I'm happy with where she is. She knows what's going on. She plays along with quizzes on TV again now, which she had stopped
Sure.
doing. And so long as she's stable,
Yes.
that's good enough for me.
That's, no, that's excellent. That's awesome. Yeah, working with families probably the most challenging thing, and yeah, it's tough, being also a caregiver, but a parent, a son of the parent who you're caregiving for.
Mm.
That's the challenging thing, right? Is
Yeah.
being able to implement the changes the way you'd like them to be implemented, but then there's the behavioral change. There's um, the stage at which you're meeting the person at, and I think it's a testament to the earlier the better for
Oh
every.
my God. If I'd found it 2 years earlier, imagine what I could. Well, I say that. Imagine what I could have done.
Yeah,
Would I have been able to have that conversation with my mum?
true.
While she was still hiding it really effectively.
Right, right. Everything happens. Yeah, yep.
Yeah, who
Everything
knows?
happens
Who
for a
knows?
reason. Yeah, no, that's great. That's great. As far as genes, with what you've learned, were there any genes that you found that may have predisposed her to developing Alzheimer's?
Yeah, definitely. So she is ApoE34, so she's got one copy of the gene that increases the risk. Um, but then there's a whole bunch of other things. She's got a lot of methylation SNPs.
Yeah.
She's got a lot of detox SNPs. There's quite a few things actually. I did my DNA at the same time as her, so I can
Yeah.
see exactly what she's passed on. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm working on prevention as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a fair few things to work on. So given that, the improvement that she's seen and the stability that she's found,
Yeah.
it is clear that it's clear to me it is not just about ApoE4 or not.
Yes.
Once you've got that, there's nothing you can do about that gene, but obviously all your lifestyle factors can have a really big impact. But all these other genes as well, her homocysteine was really high, so we
Oh, yeah.
needed to sort that out.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I had heard before that she had the MTHFR. Was that right?
Yes, yeah. There's a few actually. There's about 6 or 7. I can't quote all the letters, but there's about 6 or 7. And
Sure.
she and I, we've got them all,
Yep.
and we've got some Comtees.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep. Yeah. That's important. Yeah. No, it's
Yeah.
great. It's great. And I think that's another huge part of the protocol is being able to clarify some of these things. And
Mm,
um, the alternative is like our first neurologist that we saw, of course, the only thing they tested was B12, TSH, and basic metabolic panel, but there was no let's see what may have contributed to the cognitive decline, what could have been triggers. And I think, figuring out the genetics and getting a cognoscopy done is so empowering.
yeah.
Be able to identify. Um, so that's important. Now, at the same time, which is great, is that you're implementing all this on yourself. How did the protocol improve your own cognition?
Well, it really did actually. I was going through some menopausal brain fog. I mean, to be honest, I was dealing with my menopause symptoms as soon as I started training with FMCA as a functional medicine health coach, because I learned a lot during that. So I was already dealing with a lot of my menopause symptoms. Um, so I can't, I can't really pin down when I did it because obviously. I was training with FMCA before I started the Apollo training, but I'd read all the stuff about Apollo. I'd read all the books and everything. So I was kind of already doing lots of that. So who knows what really had that impact.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I got lost a couple of times in the car. That was frightening. Close to home, where I should have known where I was. So that scared me. And I was playing a game with a friend that I always used to win.
Yeah.
And I mean, every time, she's not at all competitive. She didn't care. Um, but I lost 4 times on the trot. And I realized I couldn't strategize. I couldn't work out what to do. Whereas I'm so competitive normally. Um, and that was the final straw, really. She laughed. I laughed on the outside. I was dying inside. I was thinking, oh my God,
Yeah.
this is it. I've got to do something. But yeah, turned all that around, feeling good. I did my online cognitive test on the Apollo site before I started and sometime after. And my results improved immeasurably. I mean, it's fantastic. I'm
Yeah.
really pleased.
Yeah.
I'm in the high 90s now for all the scores.
That's great.
Yay.
Amazing. Um, Great. How is a health coach different but also complementary to a doctor or even a doctor on the protocol?
Yeah, so even a ReCODE trained doctor. Um, although ReCODE trained doctors will spend a lot more time with their patient than your primary care provider in the UK here, our GPs or some such. I mean, here you get a doctor's appointment, you get about 10 minutes. Obviously, a Bredesen trained doctor will spend a lot more time. They typically spend sort of an hour or 90 minutes for the first session sometimes.
Yeah.
Um, the ReCODE trained doctor will really go into your medical history. You have to fill in a lot of forms, right back from your parents and grandparents' ailments, how your birth was, your upbringing, everything, because they're looking to see, are there any contributing factors? Have you been exposed to mold? Have you been exposed to toxins, for example?
Yes.
Has there been stress and trauma in your life? So they're looking for all of that to get a hint of what they should be testing for. And then the tests that they can do, as you mentioned, much more thorough than what you can just get from your own doctors, even the specialists like your dad experienced. Um, and then they will be recommending supplements only, not drugs. So they will explain to you thoroughly everything that they found from your blood tests. If you've done a DNA test, I mean, I'd recommend that. It's not for everybody, but they'll explain everything really thoroughly so you fully understand exactly what the issues are and what we're doing to resolve it. And then they'll be recommending supplements. And they will keep in touch with you. They will check in with you at regular intervals, and there'll be some retesting to make sure that the protocol is working. But then aside from that, all the real time gets spent with a health coach because you're going to want somebody in your corner. I see my clients fortnightly, so every 2 weeks, we check in and we work through the ReCODE report that they've got to look at all the lifestyle changes. As I say, prioritize the way they want to, but making sure that they're continually making progress so that every little thing that they manage to embed and just make part of their normal everyday lives, that we're always working on the next little thing as well. So I see my clients for a minimum of 6 months. So that's 12 sessions. So I'm really there in their corner. And if I'm noticing any changes, I keep the practitioner up to date. If they tell me something, lots of my clients tell me things that they wouldn't tell their doctor or wouldn't think to tell their doctor,
Yeah.
but they can be really important.
Yeah.
I I found out that one of my clients was moving in his dreams, like fighting his partner a little bit in his dreams.
Yeah.
That you can imagine that's the kind of thing that you wouldn't get into with a doctor, even if you got an hour with them. But I was able to relay that back straight to the practitioner, and then we had an idea this could be Parkinson's or Lewy body rather than
Yes.
the Alzheimer's that their primary care provider had diagnosed.
Sure.
So little things like that, the health coach and doctor relationship can be really important.
Yes.
And of course, they tell me if there's something they really need to prioritize, then I can persuade the client to go in that direction.
Yeah. Yeah. No, fantastic. It's so important to have somebody in your corner to help you implement, but also, especially with all this testing, I remember there was a learning curve for us at the beginning. We have to learn, we're getting explained by the doctor what these test results mean, but it doesn't mean that we'd remember all of that when we left. Yeah. And having a coach be able who's well versed in that language and that vernacular and be able to break down exactly what these test results mean and how it relates
Yeah.
to your own health and what it means about where you are compared to where you want to be. It's
Mm.
invaluable. It really is. So that's great. What can people hope to achieve when getting on the protocol?
Well, you can't make any promises to anybody because it really depends how much effort they put in and how much of the protocol they implement and how quickly they start. But if we catch it really early and they throw themselves into it and do everything, do the whole lifestyle change, generally, I don't see any reason why we can't get them completely functioning normally, back to absolute normal. Obviously, the later you find it, the less of the protocol you're able to implement, the less we can hope for. Um, but I think we can hope for just a halt of the decline
Yeah.
in most cases, as the very least. So we do have to set expectations with people right up front because, as I say, it's not an easy protocol. It's not, quick and simple. I wouldn't be working with people over 6 months if it was. Um, but having said that, the more effort you're prepared to put in,
Yeah.
the better the results that you're going to get.
Yes. Yes. Yep. Absolutely. Now, Alzheimer's disease is the leading cause of death in the UK. Is that, do I have that right?
Do you know what? Now you've said that, I can't remember whether it's dementia or Alzheimer's. It's got to be dementia,
Dementia.
just on the basis that
Yeah.
80% of dementias are Alzheimer's, roughly.
Yeah.
So it's probably dementia. Yes, dementia is the leading cause. It's the leading cause, absolutely, for women.
Yeah.
Heart disease is still the leading cause for men, but when you average it out with men and women, it is so big
Yeah.
that it outweighs for men and women in total. It is the leading cause. I mean, that is frightening, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Wow.
Horrible.
It is. It's amazing that the UK, I think it might be the only one ranked in that category where dementia leads everything else.
Mm.
Why do you think that is?
Wow. That's a really good question. I mean, dementia is growing anyway. The cases are just growing so fast. They're set to triple by 2050, according to the World Health Organization. So it is growing.
Yeah.
I think diagnosis might be a bit better now.
Yeah.
So maybe more cases are getting attributed to dementia than other things. Um, but it's like any chronic condition.
Yeah.
The real underlying causes are the toxins in our environment,
Yes.
the ultra-processed ingredients they're putting in our foods,
Yes.
the stress, the lack of sleep, the sedentary lifestyle, people are just not exercising,
Yeah.
sugar, all those things.
Yeah. Yeah.
The modern malaise.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. Yeah. We see all that here in the States. I think probably the most amplified of places for all of these things. And yeah, I think you're exactly right. It's all these environmental pieces, and we definitely have a lot more chemicals in our food supply than we used to. I'm curious, maybe something we'll have to kind of riff about offline at some later point, but I'd really like to know what the statistics are on glyphosate in the UK in terms of
So we banned it many years before you guys.
ah,
So but it's still there, isn't it? It's there.
yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
I would love to know a bit more
yeah,
about that as well. I
yeah,
mean, there's just so many toxins. When you do a tox panel, when you believe somebody is experiencing type 3, the toxin type,
yes,
there are so many tox panels you can do. There's just so many toxins that you wouldn't even think of. I
yeah,
had actually a client, lovely, lovely man, and one of his major causes was toxins from he'd been a gardener. His career would been in gardening,
yeah,
and his major cause was toxins.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it definitely happens.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, for my dad, Mercury was the big one there. So
Yeah.
the type 3 is it's definitely I think the most underdiagnosed uh,
Mm.
cause of dementia, not just in the protocol, but across everywhere. I think the amount of toxins that we've all accumulated over time has become higher. So something that hopefully is moving in a better direction now. Why do you think the Bredesen Protocol is not better known at this point?
Oh, it's so frustrating that it isn't. I think here in the UK, we love our NHS and we're very proud of our NHS and we expect healthcare to be free at point of use. And we revere our doctors, and there's not much of a culture here of going and getting a second opinion or delving into it for yourself or researching it for yourself. So that's not to say there aren't lots of people in the UK who do have a healthy skepticism of doctors and drugs and um, and will research things themselves and look for natural approaches. Um, but yeah, it's not well known, and because the NHS aren't aligned with it, and the Alzheimer's Society are aware of it, but they consider Dr. Bredesen's trials to be too small to be of significance and to be able to recommend it. I had quite a fight with the Alzheimer's Society in the UK when I first found the protocol because I was asking them, where do I get this cognoscopy?
Yeah.
And they came back and said, oh, they kind of batted me away 3 or 4 times, and I kept going back. And I said, no, I want to talk to one of your researchers. And that was the exact answer they gave me, that the trial was too small.
Yeah.
And I said, well, you fund trials, do you not? That
Yeah.
was kind of the end of the conversation.
There you
So
go.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I refer back, I think it was Carl Sagan who said science, something like, I'm going to get this wrong, but science progresses one funeral at a time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that's probably true in the medical profession as well. There's a way of doing things.
Yeah.
And if this doesn't fit with, the common understanding or the common belief, I mean, look how much pharmaceutical companies are putting into research about removing
Amyloid.
amyloid plaques. And
Amyloid.
we know there's tons of research out there that shows that
Yeah.
that is not the problem.
Yeah.
That is the self-defense mechanism of the brain.
Absolutely.
Um, so I don't know why we can't get off that loop.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully we're getting closer. Yeah, it's amazing. It's when I hear that, when I hear that feedback, I've heard that feedback from doctors and researchers. I totally appreciate and respect it. But the way I feel about it, I could be 100% wrong. It's like it for me, it's like you've been walking in the desert, or uh, you've been walking in the desert for 2 weeks. You're parched. You're just you're dying for water, and somebody comes over with a small cup of water, and the first thing you say is, "You couldn't give me a bigger cup?"
Yeah.
It's like why can't some of the money, hundreds of
Yeah.
thousands, millions, the billions of dollars that are going allocated to pharmaceutical research for the amyloid hypothesis, why can't some of that be reallocated to studies that have shown small sample sizes, but they keep getting larger? Why wouldn't you just fund a larger sample size and see what
I
happens?
know, why would you not?
Yeah, well,
So,
we'll see.
Dr. Bredesen's doing a trial right now in the States with 72 participants. So, I can't wait for the results of that.
Yeah,
I might just go back to the Alzheimer's Society when the results of that are out and say, come on, seriously.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Great.
If you want more than that, you fund it. You
There you go.
you get
Why
it
not?
set up and
Why not?
going.
That's right. Why not? Great. All right. Could you please explain this diet, the anti-Alzheimer's diet of Dr. Bredesen's Keto Flex 12-3?
Yes. So, keto means that your body is making ketones. So your body is using fat and ketones as its energy source rather than glucose. So we are designed to be able to use either source as a fuel source for our bodies and our brains. And we should really be metabolically flexible. We should be coming in and out of ketosis. If we were living in a remote tribe, we would be in fruit all sugar all summer, raising insulin levels to store all that sugar as fat, so that in the winter, when there's no sugar left, there's no fruit left, we're living off our fat stores and ketones. So we should be metabolically flexible, and that's where the flex comes in. Because Dr. Bredesen does not talk about being in ketosis, in chronic ketosis. It's about being able to flex. We do need to be in ketosis at least once a day to be making some ketones to give our brain some energy. But we can kind of flexibly move in and out. And then the 12-3 is about fasting. So it's Keto Flex 12-3. You should fast at least 12 hours overnight, which, I don't even understand how that's a thing. If you stop eating at 7 at night
Yeah.
and you don't have breakfast till 9, that's 14 hours. That is so easy.
Yeah.
Um, but I think some people must be snacking right up until bedtime.
Yeah.
So, although it's 12-3, if you don't have any copies of the ApoE4 gene, It is a 12-hour fast, but if you've got one or two copies of the ApoE4 gene, you should really be fasting a bit longer. So 14 hours would be good. And then the three part of it is don't eat 3 hours before bed, so that when you're going to bed, your body gets restful sleep and can do its repair jobs and wash all those proteins out of the brain without still trying to be digesting food.
Yes.
So it's quite simple, really. And the keto bit part, I ought to say, it's very much like a Mediterranean version of keto.
Yep.
We've seen dirty keto diets out there that are all protein and horrible saturated fats and are not sustainable.
Yeah.
This is very much lots and lots of veggies,
Yeah.
a normal amount of protein, and then lots of lovely, healthy fats like extra virgin olive oil, avocados, nuts and seeds, oily fish, things like that.
Yeah. Great.
So
Yeah.
more akin to what we would be eating,
That's it. That's it.
in a remote tribe somewhere.
That's right. That's right. Just getting more in line with our ancestral patterns. Great. Can you tell us a little bit about the role of exercise in the protocol?
Exercise is so important. Um, so cardio exercise gets the blood moving, and so we would be getting lots of nutrients to the brain. We need the blood flowing, bringing oxygen, nutrients, hormones to the brain. Um, so cardio is really good. Um, and then strength exercises are also really good. So our muscles use up a lot of glucose. So anything that we do eat, we can use in our muscles. And there's lots of correlation between muscle mass and cognitive function. So that's good. And let's not forget flexibility as well. Um, Most people, when they fall when they're older, it's a lack of flexibility that is the problem. So if you are laid up because you've fallen, then you're not getting the exercise and you're not getting the stimulation. So you're setting yourself back. So good to have a good range of different types of exercise and things that are fun, things that you're going to enjoy doing. As I spend quite a bit of time with my clients thinking back to things they used to enjoy when they were younger, and if they can't do the whole thing now, could they do a part of it? Could they, join in for some small parts, or do it in a modified way?
Yeah. Yeah. Great. How about sleep and its importance to the protocol?
Oh, sleep is so important. Obviously, we all know, everybody knows if you've had a bad night's sleep, you're a bit fuzzy the next day. So sleep is really important. And during our REM sleep, when we're dreaming, that's when our brains are sorting out all our memories from the day and filing them all. So that's very important. And our deep sleep is when our brain is washing out all the proteins from, leftover bits of proteins in our brain and getting it all sparkling. Um, and also, I always feel really guilty banging on about sleep because any of the listeners out there who are struggling to sleep, I'm really piling the pressure on now, which is making it worse. So I would definitely say to anybody who is struggling to sleep, I'm sure you've tried everything and I'm sure everyone has given you some tips. There are still lots of things that you can do. So I would definitely book a call with a health coach and just go through what have you tried already. And then I'm sure they will have lots of other tips and ideas for you. That there's lots more that can be done.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. Great. It's closely tied with sleep, stress management. How do you
Mm.
support clients with their stress management?
Well, this is a really personal thing, I think. I mean, meditation is great for stress, but honestly, not all my clients like to meditate. Some of them just get more frustrated. So maybe it's finding different things. So I like to think more in terms of being really mindful,
Yeah.
um, and doing things with your whole attention. You know, One of the things that I get lost in a book. If somebody talks to me when I'm reading, I don't even hear them. So, I mean, that's a real state of flow.
Yeah.
So anything really that will capture your entire focus, excluding all else. I think that's a really beautiful thing, and that just that being present in the moment, and it could be anything. It could be reading, it could be cross stitch, embroidery or some such. I mean anything. There's lots of sort of gadgets out there as well. Lots of people love their gadgets. So there's lots of gadgets that you can use. There's ones that you can clip to your ear or wear around your neck, and they stimulate the vagus nerve. Um, and I personally, every time I go to the loo, I all day, every time I go to the loo, I just do a bit of palming to just block out any other input, and I just take four really long, slow, deep breaths.
Yeah.
Um, and that just gives me a very regular a little minute away from it because I drink a lot of water,
Yeah.
so I go a
Yeah.
lot.
That's great. Yeah, even just, a minute, just a little bit, is something that unplugs us from all the stimuli. It can be so powerful. I love that.
Yeah.
Great. What do you see that is the as your client's biggest challenge in implementing the protocol?
Do you know it's different for every client, to be honest. I mean, I get people who have come to me and said, "But I don't eat vegetables." Now that's a challenge. Um, but you can always overcome it. There's always something you can do. Like my mum is not mobile. She can't stand. But she does chair exercises, chair aerobics, chair tai chi. And we've got some exercise bands, so she's getting some resistance. I mean, I don't think that equates to enough exercise, but it's the little bit that we can do. Yeah, so everybody's challenge is different. A lot of people really struggle with the diet if they've been used to eating a lot of carbs. It does come as a bit of a shock. Some of my clients come to me and they say, just tell me what to eat and I'll do it. And they do. And others, we might take weeks over it. It may be just changing one meal at a time. So we just change breakfast to start with. Or it may be that we just start adding vegetables.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really, don't even take away anything that you currently do. Just start adding some vegetables. Um, yeah. So, I mean, it really depends on the client.
Yeah.
And some people come to me and they are so stressed that this is also overwhelming, that actually we need to just remove some of the stresses from their life first of all, and just um, buy them a little bit of mental space in the day.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's powerful. It is different for everyone, and that's where the power of a coach can come in to see things. Sometimes when we're in it, we can't see the forest for the trees, and
Mm,
um, being able to have another set of skilled eyes to kind of chunk it down and help us get some wins or over reframe, the challenge that we may just keep putting off, so
yeah. Do
that's
you know, I mean, I think that is a key thing that people benefit from with a coach,
yeah,
because yours, I mean, everyone's the same. I'm the same. You have opinions and attitudes about things, you
yeah,
know, and you don't always challenge your own assumptions. Whereas the coach is just listening and hearing this stuff, and it's very easy to just challenge it and say, and why is that? And
yeah,
what if you didn't?
yeah,
What would happen if you did do that? You can just make those challenges, and the light bulb goes on, and people just kind of go, oh,
yeah,
well, yeah, I suppose I could change that a little bit.
yeah. That's it. That's it. Yeah, yeah.
We just get stuck with our limiting beliefs, don't we?
That's it. That's it. It's all mindset. That's great. Um, well, what have been some of the standout moments for your clients?
Um, Always when we do the second cognitive test online, and I mean, they've probably had some really good wins and they're feeling good about themselves, but when you put a number on it and all those numbers have increased, that's always a great moment. At the other end of the coaching program as well, just that moment when you first meet them and suddenly they've got some hope, and you sometimes see people come onto a call and they're looking a bit beaten, and then by the end of it you can tell the difference in their body language. That's amazing. um but yeah, just sometimes it's the little wins.
Yeah.
um I had a client who was so overwhelmed with clutter in her house. She'd been so ill, and she'd had various attempts at cleaning the clutter in her house. Um, and she tried to do it all in one go every time. And so she ended up just with bags of stuff for the charity shop and bags of stuff for the rubbish and bags of stuff to sell, just bags in different places. And it was just wearing, and just, being in the house, seeing it all the time was really wearing. Um, and so just coaching her through clearing just one room, just making one room.
Yeah.
a little oasis. And that was just the start of everything for her. I mean, that was a really weird place to start. I didn't think that would be ever where I would start a coaching journey. But just having that one room, and we didn't even redecorate it or anything. I think she just put a throw and a vase of flowers in some calming colours.
Yeah.
And it's just her little retreat, somewhere to just go and be calm and be present and reframe some things and make some plans. And from that, she springboarded onto clearing the whole house a little bit at a time.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great.
She's
Um,
doing really well now. She's right at the top of her game, really high scoring on the CQ test.
I love that. Yeah, I love that. It's great to hear those stories. You can't start this protocol. You can start it passively. You cannot continue with the protocol passively. You start,
No.
whether you like it or not, you have to invest yourself, and
Mm.
there's like a real transformation that happens in all facets of not just your body. My wife and myself are on the prevention protocol. My house is a three-generational ReCODE center, I guess. And yeah, it's amazing how it affects everybody. If somebody starts doing the protocol, then everybody in the radius starts to benefit from it. So that's
Yeah,
that's
definitely. I mean, I have so many clients whose partners tell me they've lost weight or their sore joints are better or they were pre-diabetic and now they're clear, you know, just the partners.
yeah,
But yeah, you're absolutely right. It's a really tough call for the health coach actually, because sometimes we meet people who it's a tough decision whether to take them on as a client or not, because I don't want to take anyone on who is really not bought into the process and is not going to achieve, because it's just raising hope when they're not going to achieve. But on the other hand, sometimes you meet somebody and they start a little bit passively because I mean you don't know what's going on in their lives, what other stresses there are,
yeah,
what be making this difficult. But sometimes you can start with some little small changes, and that is just enough to springboard them into some bigger changes.
yeah,
But yeah, you definitely, I spend a lot of time in my discovery calls really setting expectations about what they need to expect to put in
yeah,
and what they can expect to get out, just so that I'm not building false hope.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um, coming back to, I think we grazed over it, but could you actually just really briefly define what is type 3 Alzheimer's according to Bredesen?
So there are a number of different types of Alzheimer's, and they're all to do with the different root causes. So there are root causes around sugar, inflammation, etc. But type 3 is around toxins. And I think this is one of the most misdiagnosed areas. So the thing is, it's such a massive range of things that could be the toxins that are problems. I've had clients who were engineers in their career, and it's very much heavy metals poisoning. They were refurbishing engines and, you know, I don't know what to call it really, but, just shaving off the most minuscule amounts of metal.
Yeah.
So that can be a big issue. A lot of my clients have been affected by mold.
Yes.
That's probably close to half my clients
Yeah.
have been affected by mold, and it's a tough one to find
Yeah.
because most of those clients would tell me, like, initially, there's no mold in the house, you can't see any mold, you can't smell it, it's not damp.
Yeah.
But it's from previous water damage,
Yep.
maybe even before you moved into the house.
Yeah.
So it could be under the shower, under the bath, behind the walls, and you just don't know it's there.
Yeah.
Um, and that can have a really big impact on your cognition. And if you can clear that,
Mhm.
great, you're back to normal.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's a tough one to diagnose. I'm actually at the point now where every single new client doesn't just do the cognitive test online. I get them to do a visual contrast test as well,
Great.
which will identify at least if there's a biotoxin present. And that, I mean, that doesn't cover heavy metals and things like that.
Sure.
You said your dad, it's all about the mercury. Um,
Yeah.
and that's really common as well because they put mercury in our fillings in our teeth. And they're still doing it. I don't know if they still do that in the US, but here in
Oh
the
yeah.
UK, NHS dentists still use mercury amalgam fillings. I mean, it's criminal.
Still. Yep. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
understand that dentists, as you kind of rank professions
Yeah.
for their risk of dementia, dentists are right up there.
Yeah, they are. They are. They're also the highest in suicide and mental health issues.
Mm.
And it's amazing that um, when handling the mercury, they have to set it aside in a separate bin that then gets sent off to a, like a chemical waste facility. But they can put it in our mouths. And no, it's still legal here in the
Is it?
US. In the
And
US,
the
yeah.
putting it in is bad enough, right? But
Yep.
it's when that filling starts to deteriorate a bit,
Yeah.
and then eventually they say, "Oh, well, that needs refilling," and they drill it out of you. They drill it. Where do they think all the particles are going to go?
That's it. That's it. Yeah, the vapor is it's amazing. I wish we could have. It was amazing. The pandemic slowed us down big time. We just got my dad's last amalgam out July of last year. So
Mm,
we had to do it piecemeal, and if we would have been able to go into it before the pandemic struck and get those all out, um, even better. But yeah, it's here in the States, it's still legal to do up to 55% of the amalgam. They call it a silver filling, but it's up to 55% of it is mercury.
mm.
And hopefully that does change. And yeah, no, we've had to deal with mold too. I've had three remediations here at my home, and
Oh, that's expensive.
yeah, yeah, and you find some and you've dealt with it, but then you find it somewhere else and you retest. And so clearing mold toxins is huge. And I think you're right. I think it's great that you're doing the visual contrast, because I think it's affecting many more people than they give themselves uh the chance to realize. And I think it's affecting a lot of people's diagnoses, not just cognitive decline. So
Yeah.
that's important. um so as far as if there was one thing you could tell caregivers or care partners that are working with their loved one, what would it be?
I would say look after yourself first. I think it is such a massive undertaking. There's a lot of research to be done to understand the protocol, and then you're putting all this time and effort into helping your loved one. And if your well-being is suffering because of that, if you find that overwhelming or stressful, or if you just finding you've not got time for yourself, um, that's terrible. It's like being on the plane, isn't it? Put your own mask on before you help someone else. Um, I do have clients. I have lots of clients where I just track coach one-to-one, where they're in quite the early stages. But where I've got clients who see me together with a care partner, I quite often dedicate a small number of the sessions just for the care partner so that they can look after themselves as well and just, get it off their chest a bit.
Yeah,
Get some respite, get someone to come and help and get out and take some time for yourself.
yeah,
I think that's the major thing because you shouldn't be in it on your own.
yeah, yes, that's right. Yeah, you got to take care of yourself for sure. And yeah, we've found that. Great. If someone's sensing changes in themselves, or
Mm.
sensing one in their loved ones, uh, how does one get started with the protocol? How does one get to the point where they're working with you, or just getting started?
Yeah. So, I mean, the first thing I would say is do the online cognitive test. It is free.
Yeah.
So you can get that on my website, which is thecognitivehealthcoach.co.uk. I know you're going to put that in the show notes. So, um, and it's right there on the menu bar, right at the top. So you can do that absolutely free, and that will tell you how you're doing compared to people your age and gender. So, 50 is average. And I'm going to say to anybody, don't settle for average.
Yeah.
This was my thing. When I did my cognitive test, I was in those early menopausal years, so 51, 52. I forget my age exactly. I didn't want to be average compared to a bunch of ladies with menopausal brain fog.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I scored like high 90s for a couple of the outcomes, but for executive function, I was down at 55,
Yeah.
and that was not good enough for me.
Yeah.
So do that first and just see how you're doing.
Yeah.
And that will give you an outcome, not just in numerical terms. It will also advise either pre-code, prevention, or recode. Um, and then I'd sign up with Apollo. I thoroughly recommend signing up with Apollo. They will help you find the right health coach and the right practitioner for you, for your needs, for where you are in the country, but also depending on what your root causes are. You can order your labs directly through Apollo and get the report sent to you. And the ReCODE report is a really friendly report. It makes it really clear with traffic light kind of colours on all of the different areas, and it'll tell you exactly what you need to do.
Yeah.
And they'll help you find a health coach and a practitioner to help you with actually implementing it. That's where I'd start.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. Great. Anybody who may be skeptical or hesitant to start a protocol like the Bredesen Protocol, what would you say to them?
Um, I would say get the book called The First Survivors of Alzheimer's. It's written by seven of the first people to go through the protocol. And I believe they wrote that 11 years after they started. So if seven people can write a book
Yeah.
11 years after starting this protocol, I mean, and just immerse yourself in watching some videos. Watch Dr. Bredesen get interviewed. Obviously, they're already listening to your podcast. How are they not already? How are they not already on this? How are they not already bought in?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
um, yeah, and I would genuinely say, yes, it does take some effort and some focus. It's not to be taken on lightly. But if you're just skeptical whether it will work or not, what's the alternative?
Yeah.
Why would you not try? There are no downsides to this. I have
Yeah.
not seen any negative side effects. All the side effects are positive.
Yeah.
Why, why would you just not give it a go?
That's it. That's it. That's awesome. That's powerful. Um, what's one step every listener can take after they finish this interview that could improve their brain health?
Well, I'm going to give you two because I can't constrain myself. I'm going to say cut out sugar.
Yeah.
Like even if you have to do it a tiny bit at a time, just cut down on your sugar a little bit at a time and cut it out eventually.
Yeah.
And also cut out ultra processed foods. And but yeah, so there's an app called the Yucca app. It's Yuka. It's free.
Yeah.
You can scan any food product with a barcode and also any personal care product. It will tell you if it's got ultra processed additives in, if it's food, or if toxic ingredients, if it's a personal care product. But the great thing is, if you scroll down, if you've got a product that is bad, you scroll down and it will give you alternatives, similar products, but without all the nasties in them. So just cut
Oh,
out all the rubbish. And I want to get everybody using this as much as possible because the more of us who refuse to buy those horrible products,
yes.
the more the big food companies and the big personal care products companies will have to start making products without. And there are plenty of alternatives out there, and they're not even necessarily more expensive. A lot of them are the same price as what you've already been buying.
That's right.
So yeah, let's stop those companies from perpetuating this. It's unnecessary.
That's right. That's right. We got to change consumer demand and then the products will change. So that's great. Um, that's awesome. Now, can you please tell us a little bit about your book? What did I come
Oh,
in here for again?
yeah, my book. What
Yeah.
did I come in here for again? Basically, it's if you wanted to do this do it yourself style, I think the book is a great companion. So there's a bit in there about my story, how I came to this, a little bit more than we talked about today, a little bit more about my mum's story and what she's achieved. Um, but basically, I go through every aspect of lifestyle that you might want to look at. Every chapter is dedicated to a different aspect. You do a little self-assessment up front. Well, you do a big self-assessment up front so that you know which chapters to prioritize. But then each chapter, you do a little self-assessment to help you kind of work out exactly what you want to work on. And there's lots of tips and ideas. And anything I found difficult, I give you the workarounds, or there's lots of little case studies from my clients as well.
Yeah.
Um, and at the back, there's loads of coaching templates. So just asking those questions that you might not think to ask yourself.
Yeah.
So hopefully it's a nice sort of companion guide to get you through the whole protocol.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm waiting on mine in the mail. It still hasn't
Oh,
got.
okay.
Yeah, but I'm looking forward. It's always great. It's super valuable to read from those who are either practicing the protocol or have practiced the protocol. And it's early days. It's early days for
Yeah.
this time. So it's really helpful to learn from people like yourself and your story with your mom. And I recommend everybody go out and get this book as whether you're doing the protocol yourself or not. Um, these resources are really what we need because um, the alternative doesn't have any of these resources. The alternative is to wait. So uh,
Mm.
I think we all have to educate ourselves as much as we can. Um, a couple more quick ones here. What's currently exciting you in your work today?
Well, right now, I hope, on the brink of working with somebody on getting a care home set up in the UK to implement the Bredesen Protocol. I mean, obviously, you've got a few in the US already. Marama, obviously, is a really big success for the US. I think I might have found a provider who's interested. So that's what's exciting me at the moment.
That's great. That's great. We need more of that. Yeah,
Yeah,
Rama's amazing. Memory recovery as opposed to care. So that's exactly where we need to go. So yeah, I'm excited about that. I'm excited to hear more about this going forward. I mean, it's a matter. The way I look at it is, it's a matter of when, not if. Uh,
yeah,
this is
yeah.
it's. I
And
mean,
it can't come soon enough for me. I'm so frustrated. We should be moving faster.
I agree. I agree.
And I really appreciate being on your podcast because you're getting the word out there. And the more people are talking about this, the more it will normalize it.
Yes.
People talk about cancer all the time. When people are diagnosed, they talk about it. We need to get people talking about this because I think a lot of the time, like my mom, people hide it,
Yeah.
and there's a bit of a stigma with it. Whereas actually,
Yeah.
if we know sooner and we do something about it sooner, the better everything will be.
Yes, yes, I'm totally with you. And hey, appreciate everything you're doing because especially in a place like the UK, I am excited to speak with you because, I for the lack of awareness here in the States, there's definitely far less awareness all around the world, and the UK is, it's a place that needs your work and needs your services more than ever. So where can people find you and your resources?
Yeah, so my website is thecognitivehealthcoach.co.uk. If you come on that, you can request a free brain health guide. So that will drip feed 6 emails with just some little tips and things that you can do. Um, yeah, I think that those are probably the best places to go. I've got a Facebook group as well. So that is Bredesen Support UK. I nearly forgot then.
Yep.
Yeah, so lots of ways to get in touch with me and to contact and just get some help.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, we're gonna link all of that in the show notes here in the description below for everyone, so everyone can go ahead and hop on and be educated and find the resources that they need to start wherever they are, whether it's prevention, reversal, you have a family history, you just want to learn more. You're exactly right. I think Alzheimer's has been such a painful psychological area for so many people that before Bredesen, I'd always hear other people say, "Oh, I just hope I don't get it," or "I just hope."
Oh yeah,
Always, I hope there was this deterministic thing, and I think a
yeah,
lot of people have kind of put it to the side. But I think you're right. We have to normalize the conversation around there are things that help. The protocol is a huge help. This is just a breakthrough innovation for all of us. And the more conversations we have like these, the better we're all are because of it. So, hey, look, Lindsey, I really appreciate you taking this time with us. I know you're busy. You're doing great things with your clients. I'm really grateful for everything you've been doing, everything you do with your mom, everything you're doing with your clients, everything you're going to continue to do. And I'm so excited that you're at the tip of the spear in the UK and
Yeah.
internationally. Um, helping also evangelize some really great information and doing great work and helping other people's lives. So thank you for coming on and looking forward to connecting with you down the road.
No, seriously, thank you. I'm just so pleased to help get the word out there and yeah, to talk to all your listeners.